It's early, but baseball races are already heating up. We have a surprise frontrunner in boys soccer. Meanwhile, an area powerhouse continues to roll in girls soccer. We'll announce our athlete of the week. All that and more coming up on this week's installment of Varsity 360, and it starts right now. Hello everyone, Mark Coleman here from V2SN, back to talk about the week's top stories in Fredericksburg area high school sports. We call it Varsity 360. You can catch it each week right here at Fredericksburg.com, the online home of the Freelance Star. Very pleased to be partnered with the good folks from the Freelance Star, including their sports department. They have a relatively new undertaking focusing on area high school sports. They call it FLS Varsity. To keep up with all of the latest in the area high school sports scene, you can log on to flsvarsity.com, follow them on Twitter at FLSVarsity. I tell you what, you can also catch them each week right here on Varsity 360. This week is no exception. In fact, I have two of the very good folks from the FLS Varsity team, a relative double shot, double dose, a twofer as it were, of the award-winning team from the FLS Varsity crew. We have Assistant Sports Editor Justin Rice and Sports Reporter Extraordinaire Taft Coghill Jr. Fellas, welcome.
Hi, Mark.
I kind of feel like after that kind of introduction, you need like a walk-up song or something. If you were to pick a song, what would your walk-up song be?
I'm gonna have to give that some thought. I don't know that I can commit to one song.
These are deep, insightful things.
That is a deep question.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll think about it. We'll get back to you and see what we can come up with. Soccer is big in the area. I don't know if you knew that, but soccer is big in the area. Starting just little pee-wees all the way up through high school. And there's been some really great soccer played so far this year. I tell you what, Massaponax is really turning it on. They had a pretty decent team last year, playing in a competitive division there. But they're 6-1 now after a big victory over Colonial Forge, 5-2 just this past week.
Yeah, Massaponax. You probably haven't heard much from them since around 2002. They went to the state championship when they were AA. Had some lean years in there, and now they're right back at it.
Yeah, and they've been playing in that Commonwealth District, and right now the Commonwealth District has an argument as the premier soccer conference in the state for boys soccer. North Stafford's not too far removed from a state championship. Colonial Forge, Riverbend, these teams have made deep state tournament runs, and so I think Massaponax has been sort of a good team in a tough conference or tough district. And now here you go. Here's their chance. They're starting out 2-0 in Conference 15.
Yeah, they have a senior laden group, and Coach Mark Smith, he was a member of that 02 team. He was the goalkeeper, and he's been pointing toward this season. Last year they won 11 or so games. So they've been kind of building up toward a season like this, and they're off to a pretty good start. Yeah,
a number of seniors on that team, but they played the big schools, so they've got a victory over Colonial Forge already, a victory over Riverbend. There's no slouch schools either in terms of soccer, and Massaponax is taking it to them.
Yeah. Just last week, they played 3 Group 6A teams, within a span of 4 days. So, yeah. And they went 2-1. They were pretty beat by the time they beat, I think it was Riverbend last Tuesday night. They were pretty beat. They lost to Garfield Wednesday, came back and played Forge and was able to get a win on Friday. So a pretty impressive week there for them.
Yeah, they've got kids that have been around for a while. Jordan Stretch is a big defender. That's a kid whose name we've seen for years and years and years, and now sort of an anchor for them as a senior. They're experienced and going to be around. I think Conference 15 is going to be pretty tough.
You think so?
But, oh yeah, absolutely. Mountain View's 1-0-1 in the conference. They take a tie, and Mountain View is a team that, speaking of defense, goalkeeper Matt Spencer, this team has been playing defense for years. They always play good defense and are always going to get in some low-scoring games. Mountain View, Massaponax, April 29th. That's the time it'll count in the Conference 15 standings. And I think that'll be, looking ahead, almost a month away. That's going to be a big one when those two get together.
Circle it. Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a great game. Good stuff on the girls' side as well. Perennial powerhouse in Cortland continues to roll. Very deep team. They've had some struggles this year challenges in terms of injuries, but they're 5-0, a 7-1 victory over Chancellor.
Yeah, Dennis Berry, when we talked to him in the preseason, he called this the best team he's had at Cortland, he thinks. Potentially the best team. And gosh, they've had some good teams, some good players. Kara Blosser, of course, Freelance Star Player of the Year for us. And the Cougars, you talk about one team, one sport, one school that has been consistently strong. Cortland Girls Soccer has been that team. Mary Beth McBroom was a District Player of the Year last year. She's a Freelance Star All-Area player. She's back to lead the way. Just a heck of an athlete. She's a pretty good field hockey player for them this past fall. Cortland girls look strong, and I think you certainly look at a team that's going to be in the region playoffs, and then we'll find out what they're about.
The interesting thing, though, is that McBroom has actually been out and missed some time with injury. I think she's going to be out for about 3 weeks or so, and so her replacement, Kyra Locklear, actually had 2 goals and 2 assists in that victory over Chancellor. He just, next woman up, I guess, not next man up, but next person up. Mentality there. It's just incredible how deep they are.
Yeah, if any team can sustain an injury like that, it would be Cortland. When you look at the overall speed and the talent of that team, you look at girls like Paige Robertson and Sydney Wallace. I mean, they have 3 Division I players on that team. So when if any team can sustain that type of injury,
I didn't realize 3 Division I players on that team. That's amazing.
Yeah, and they've just, like we said, year after year after year, Cortland girls soccer has. Next girls up, they graduate a class, here come the next group of girls who are going to be standouts, and gosh, it's been fun to watch, and it'll be really interesting to see if, now it has been a while since they've taken that next step deep into the playoffs, state semifinal, state final. It'll be interesting to see when they get to that level to see what they're about.
All right, excellent. Well, good things in soccer for both the boys and girls side this spring. So
yeah, absolutely, and in Conference 15 girls, we'd be remiss not to mention the boys. You have Massaponax and Mountain View. The girls' side, Massaponax and Mountain View, both 2-0 in Conference 15 play. They don't play until April 29th. But this Massaponax team, the 5 freshmen, 6 sophomores, they graduated 9 seniors. And here they are off to a 2-0 conference start. And, they should be excited. And I know Mountain View, Erica Tomeko is an all-area type that's back again this year. And, Mountain View, I'm not surprised, is solid. I think Massaponax maybe taking some people off guard and winning some games and off to a good start, Conference 15.
Yeah, good stuff in soccer. Good stuff. We are joined now in studio by members of the Riverbend High School baseball team. We have the head coach, Tim Stimmell, and one of the stars and pitchers, Eric Byrd. Fellas, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Good to be here.
Glad to have you. Big win Friday night, a 7-0 victory over Brook Point, and a pretty impressive pitching line from young Mr. Byrd here. Feels pretty good to right the ship. You ended a 2-game losing streak and got that big victory.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. One of your better pitching performances ever. Have you ever had such a night?
No, sir. It was really good. I felt solid on the mound. It took me a little while to get it going, 1 or 2 innings, but after there it built up, and I just kept it low and let the defense work.
You guys are 4-2 now. The 4 wins, the pitching, that's going to be the common thread, right?
Yes, and all 4 of the wins we've pitched really well. And the 2 losses, we didn't pitch poorly. We just didn't play as good a defense behind the pitching, I guess is what I would say.
Kind of important, though.
Yeah, definitely. We found out how important defense is in those 2 losses.
I mean, you guys are the type of team, right? You got to play good defense. You're going to get that pitching right. You just have to make the plays. And
yeah, we rely on it. I mean, we throw to contact. There's no doubt. We pitch to contact. We try to throw in the zone. We try to let the defense work. We'll take strikeouts when we get them, but we don't pitch to try to run our strikeout totals up. I mean, we definitely want to have our pitchers go out and not labor, go deeper into ball games without running their pitch counts up.
Eric, is it a lesson you have to learn as a pitcher as you get more experience, that strikeouts are pretty and so on, but let's put the ball in play? And
it's awesome to have strikeouts, but it's a lot easier on your arm just to let them hit it and let your defense work. If your defense work, you can keep your pitch count low, and that just means longer innings.
Stick around for a long time and pile up some strikeouts.
Yeah, and that's always better too.
You guys faced a pretty good pitcher on Friday night, though, from Brook Point. Trio had some good location there. You were able to get to him. Some errors behind him that forced some run across. But there's some pretty good pitching in this league.
Yeah, it was very good. And the thing about him on Friday night is Trio was able to locate all 3 pitches. It wasn't just locating the fastball or the breaking ball, but he located fastball, breaking ball, and a changeup, and he kept us off balance. We were pretty disciplined at the plate. I thought we had a lot of good at-bats, even though he was pretty good. I think we challenged him all night, and then when we got our breaks, we took advantage of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get the line here for Eric. A complete game, 3-hit shutout, 7 strikeouts, and of course got the win. A pretty good night at the plate too. Did you have 2 hits?
2 hits.
Two hits on the night.
2 for 3.
2 for 3. You know, what else you want to do?
Is that friendly between you and Anthony to one up each other like that? Like, here's a 3-hitter.
Yeah, we on the mound. It's huge. We love to make each other better. I mean, he's a leader. I'm a leader. We go out and we try to see if we can get the most strikeouts. And I mean, we try to go to contact, but between us, we have a little strikeout battle, a little just see if we can get the win. That's the main thing we're going after.
Justin, this is amazing talent. So Anthony has been on the varsity team since he was a freshman. Eric has been on the varsity baseball team since he was a sophomore. And oh, by the way, he's also been the starting quarterback for their football team since he was a sophomore. You don't see that very often.
And has plans for next year. Why don't you talk about VMI and what you're looking forward to down there?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to VMI. Committed in November. I'm going there to play baseball. I'm gonna be pitcher strictly. Maybe try to do a couple other things just to help out the team. But I'm excited. I mean, I felt like that's where I needed to go for the best education overall. First of all, it's a great school for education, and I felt like that was gonna be my best chance to play baseball and get in there quick and start throwing a couple innings.
And they're not going to be able to talk you into coming out and playing football.
No, I don't think so.
Coach, how proud are you about seeing a young kid like this grow up and turn into such a fine young man? It speaks well for your program.
Well, that's the biggest thing when you have a baseball program. Yeah, you like the wins, you like to play the games, but the reason we get into this business of coaching or teaching and being involved in high school athletics is to see boys, essentially, when they come in as freshmen, leave as young men and go on and do something productive. So that's definitely the best part. And especially, watching Eric, when he came in, I had to kind of, I guess, keep my thumb on him a little bit when he first came along, but now he's pretty self-motivated and does a lot of great things on his own. He really has stepped up in the leadership role, and he's helping make our team better, that's for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. And Friday night was certainly a very shining example of that. In fact, Eric's performance on Friday night means he is the Varsity 360 Athlete of the Week, sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings in Central Park. Eric, congratulations. You must be incredibly proud to be the Varsity 360 Athlete of the Week. What does it mean to you?
It means a lot. It's great to have this honor and to be on the show. I mean, it was awesome. It was a great performance. Just not by me, my team. Like Coach Stimmell said, we had no errors. We played error-free baseball. Coaches were great. We sent them when we needed to. We produced like we should. It was just overall just a great game of baseball. What
does the rest of the season look like? You got a pretty challenging week this week. You've got Mountain View and Colonial Forge. You've got a trip down to Disney World coming up around spring break. Is that right? You excited about that?
Oh yeah, it's a fun trip. It's a great trip to go down and play the baseball games, but I think it was what turned our season around last year. We had struggled through the first half. We went down and didn't play especially well there either, but what happened was the team grew, they bonded, some for whatever reason, but it really helped bring that team together, and we came back and we started winning baseball games, we started playing good baseball, and we ended up making a run into the region, which before spring break, if you would have asked me, I don't know how it would have happened, but
right.
I'm hoping the same kind of thing happens this year, that they go down, they bond even tighter, and we come back an even better team than what we are going down.
Excellent.
Conference 4, going to heat up maybe towards May, but this Friday, Colonial Forge in that weird, it's a game, but it's not a game.
It's the, I guess you could call it the Conference 4 preview game. It's still a district game. It's still Colonial Forge. It's still a rival. It's still one of those games you want to go after. But at the same time, it's the second time around that it has bearing on your conference seeding. So we want to get this one for sure, but we definitely want to get the second one as well.
Eric, you've started against Colonial Forge in the past. You're slated to start on Friday. What do you think about when you think about pitching to Colonial Forge? What kind of team they are?
Oh, they're coach great. Forge is a good coach team. I mean, Forge is known just to hit the ball. I mean, coming on the mound, you just gotta have the mindset to just go out there and just throw by them. You gotta go out there, and if you have the mindset where you're not going to do that, you're going to get hit around. You gotta go after them and just keep the ball low and just let your defense work.
Hey, Coach, how are you guys handling these games where you're playing Stafford and you're going to play Forge? You're going to see them once, and it sort of doesn't count, and then you're going to see them for real. treat it the same?
We'll play it the same way. You know, we don't change a whole lot. We don't change our rotation now that we're pretty much set as far as our 2-game weeks. Where right now Anthony's throwing the earlier game in the week, Eric's throwing the later game. Early on in the season, we split them some just to keep their innings down, their counts down. But now, as we're expanding the amount they throw, we're on that rotation. If we have a 3-game week, Mike Pates has now probably stepped into our number 3 role. But we won't vary as far as how we set up for a game, or we won't try to manipulate pitching. We have enough confidence in all our guys that we're just going to go after them as they line up, and so we're really not changing whether it's the conference side or the non-conference side. We just want to play it to win it, and
you guys like to win both of those.
Absolutely.
How do you think the conference is shaping up? Stafford is 2-1 now. You guys,
1-1.
Colonial Forge is still 2-0. Hilton is 1-0. Forge and Hilton play this week. Somebody's going to come out of there with the first loss. It seems like it's going to be pretty competitive race.
It's going to be competitive right down to the end. You mentioned earlier that it looks like it's going to heat up in May, and I think that's what's going to happen that second week in May. All those games are really going to matter, and that's where it's all going to kind of shake out right at the end. We just want to be in a position that when it does, hopefully we're at the top or near the top. And
well, and you're really just playing for seeding in that playoff tournament. And so really performance in the tournament is going to be even more paramount.
Absolutely.
You have to feel comfortable. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But your seed is really important. If you can get the number 1 seed, you get a bye, you come into the semifinals, and you win 1 game and you're on to the region.
And your pitching is rested.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of things that line up for you. And baseball's unique in that compared to a lot of the other sports where they don't have to rest starting pitchers. They don't have to have a rotation strong going into playoff games, where being able to rest an arm is a huge.
It might make benefit. It might make, of all the sports, it may make that bye in the first round of the conference tournament the most important because of the pitching and the rotations and so on. Yeah.
But also, a luxury that you've got. Not sure if it's fair to call it a luxury, but having 2 studs on your team, 2 arms that you can feel very confident putting out there, because the old saying, the team's only as good as a starting pitcher.
Right, and that's true. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you I'm pretty confident going into most games because I know we're going to pitch well.
Yeah.
Our problem maybe earlier in the week in a couple of games we dropped, we weren't as disciplined as we needed to be at the plate. We let pitchers dictate games to us instead of as hitters trying to control the zone a little bit better. We lost a little focus in what we were doing. So if we can keep that discipline at the plate, plus have our good pitching and throw in the good defense too, then yeah, I feel pretty good about.
It sounds like a pretty good combination. Yeah. What do you think, Justin?
If you guys just hit and play good defense and pitch well,
yeah,
you're going to have a good season.
Isn't that the secret and everything?
Yeah. Justin's pretty good about coming up with these insightful tips here.
I watch MLB tonight and baseball tonight and all those things, and that's all they say. If you can throw the ball, catch the ball, and hit the ball, you've got this game
You're in really
down.
good shape, yeah.
If only that was all that there was. Well, certainly wish you the best of luck for the remainder of the season. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a wonderful performance. Once again, Eric Byrd from Riverbend High School, the Varsity 360 Athlete of the Week. Fellas, it was good having you. Thanks a lot.
It's good being here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, let's talk a little bit more baseball. Joining us once again, we have Taft Coghill Jr. Taft, can you tell us where things stand in Conference 15?
Yeah, right now it's still early, Mark. Massaponax and Brook Point have yet to even take the field in conference play, but North Stafford and Potomac are both sitting atop the conference at 1-0.
And then you got Massaponax going to open up against Potomac this week in conference play. Brook Point opens this week against Freedom. It's a good chance for both those two teams to get off to a good start. And don't forget about Mountain View. Mountain View's been another team that every year has produced baseball talent and has been competitive in the Commonwealth District. So I expect they'll have a say in who comes out on top of Conference 15 as well.
Sure. Let's get back to North Stafford. They had a pretty good week last week, 2-0.
Yeah, it started on Monday with a big win over Freedom. Tyler Bailey, who was a football standout for them, key defensive back, he had 2 hits and 3 steals in that win.
And then Friday night, a big victory over Stafford. Austin Gregory went pretty hot.
Yeah, Austin Gregory came through with 4 hits in that win against their county rivals, so it's always good for them to knock off Stafford.
Sure. An interesting situation going on between Conference 15 and Conference 4 teams. So this past week, Colonial Forge had a big victory over Ponex, 9-0. Massaponax has beaten Riverbend. Riverbend has beaten North Stafford. North Stafford has beaten Stafford. And Stafford has beaten Colonial Forge. So what do we know? It's still early, I guess, is what we know at this point.
I think in baseball, what we know is the team with the pitcher who shows up, like Coach Stimmell said, and they play defense behind him, that team's got a big edge. And I think, you know, if every team has one or two pitchers, then every team can come out on any given night. Man, that conference tournament is going to be huge.
Yeah, both of those, I think. It's going to be exciting.
Both the conference tournaments.
Yeah, but 22 is heating up pretty nicely as well.
Yeah, 22, you know, you were just giving that convoluted 4 and 15 scenario. You know, 22 has 1, 2, 3, 4 teams or 5 teams out of 6 have at least one loss in the conference. Fauquier is 1-0. You know, they've only played one. They've got Cortland and King George this week. And I think King George looks pretty sharp. I think, you know, Eastern View's 1 and 2 in the conference, but you know, Danny Knobs, those guys, Eastern View has pieced it together the last couple of years. Chancellor's 1 and 1. You know, Liberty is 1 and 1. I think Cortland is 1 and 4, but certainly Cortland has talented ball players, has always been in the mix. So I would expect them to be a factor before it's all said and done. Conference 22 looks, you know, pretty tightly packed. None of those teams have been able to separate themselves yet.
So lots of good, meaningful baseball games are going to be played in the area in the next few weeks. So
yeah, coming up, you know, especially if you look at how these conference schedules shape up, I think when we get back from spring break, you know, you're still intermixing these district games, other games, but you're going to get back from spring break and there's a lot of teams with a couple really intense weeks where you're going to play 1, 2, 3 conference games in a week. And that's going to set your postseason, how you do in that stretch when it comes down to it.
Right, right. Well, looking forward to it. It's always an exciting time. Well, we had Coach Nat Jackson here last week to preview the Area All-Star Classic in Taft. It sounds like it was a pretty successful event.
Yeah, it was jam-packed in Riverbend High School from start to finish. I mean, people came in, you know, throughout the day for the AAU games and stuck around and waited till 6 p.m. and watched the Commonwealth District or the 5A/6A team pretty much annihilate the
3A, 4A team. So
yeah.
In classic all-star fashion, the game was not all that close. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think people expected it to be a lot closer than it was, and it ended up being 88-42 in favor of the 5A/6A team.
Okay. So there was a MVP that was awarded?
Yes, Quan Evans, a senior guard from Stafford. He was the MVP. He scored 23 points.
Excellent, excellent. And it sounds like it was a charity event as well, so there was a lot of money that was raised, you know, good entertainment and a good cause.
Yeah, exactly. They had a shoe drive, as Nat mentioned last week on the show, for a young man who was dealing with the illness. So, yeah, it was a very successful, community-oriented event.
Excellent.
I think it's a lot of fun, too, to see those kids playing ball together at the end of their careers. I hope it sticks around. I hope we see it again.
Yeah, I think it will. I think you may even see a girls' game next year.
I think that'd be nice to see.
Yeah, I heard the girls were a little bit jealous that they didn't have one. So.
Yeah, I think that's a necessary thing to do.
Yeah, well, and rightfully so. That's great. That's great. All right. Well, good stuff, folks. I appreciate it. That'll do it for this week's installment of Varsity 360. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember, you can reach me. I am mark@v2sn.com. You can also follow me on Twitter. I am at Mark Coleman V2SN. Thanks to Justin Rice and Taft Coghill for joining us. It's always a good time having you guys around.
Good to see you too, Mark.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Good night.